Alright, no intro today because once again I am dipping my toes into some spicy business. Lords of the Fallen came out yesterday and there's already quite a bit of drama surrounding the game. And I wasn't originally planning on making this video, but the discourse has grown so much that I just kinda want to throw my 2 cents in because I think it ties into a bit of a bigger issue. Few disclaimers before we get into the video. I've played about 10 hours of the game across both PC and PS5, and I've played some co-op but no PvP so far. And I've been having a pretty good time with the game. Also, you won't be seeing any spoilers in the gameplay in this video because this is just the first area and it includes the first boss, but nothing across that point at all. Like, this is all stuff that was in the previews throughout YouTube, so, you know, nothing new. Although my channel is mainly based on comedy, I've recently been dipping my toes into a more critical video format, as you can see from my recent Armored Core 6 video and my recent Monster Hunter Rise video. What's really interesting is that I had my reservations about putting my critiques out there on the internet because I don't want people to get the wrong idea, but these videos have been incredibly well received and you guys have been super constructive and respectful, which, you know, I just kind of want to say one thing about that. If you disagree with what I'm going to say in today's video, that's absolutely fine. But do think twice before dropping mindless hate, because I don't delete the comments, and if you make yourself look like a jackass, you're probably gonna get clowned on, and that's on you. I'm pretty sure most people will continue the streak of constructive and civil conversations, but I just wanted to thank the old and new viewers of the channel for being great, because this stuff is very motivational. When I interact with you guys like this, it's awesome. So what's my overall stand with this current Lords of the Fallen drama? Well, within the limited time that I've had with the game, I'm having a really good time so far. And although I was only planning on talking about this game after I finished it, you know, the ongoing drama just kind of pushed me to make this video. It's just so sad to see how video game discourses in general have become so negative. People boil things down to extremes and then shame the opposing side as if humanity just cannot have a shred of diversity. Most of the time, I'm seeing people saying things like, the game is shit, and if you like it, your taste is shit. Or on the opposite end, you will have people that say equally stupid things like, nah, the game is perfect and needs no improvement, and if you think otherwise, you're a fucking idiot. Well, my friend, if you fall under either of these hyper-aggressive sides, I recommend you take a step back from the internet because you're both acting really stupid right now. Swearing with no elaboration just blocks out actual critique, and white knighting the game just does it a huge disservice because things do need fixing. As someone who has really been enjoying the game for less than the 10 hours that I have on it, my opinion is that the game is incredibly fun, but it definitely needs to be tweaked. But let's take a step back and break it down a little bit further. For starters, I really like the graphical fidelity and the combat of the game. Lords of the Fallen just looks wonderful, and the combat is a nice combination between Bloodborne and Dark Souls speed. All the critiques I've seen around the visuals have been pretty shallow. I get it that the dark gothic aspect isn't for anyone, but I've seen comments along the lines of stuff like, game looks bad, with no further elaboration. But I have heard that some areas of the game are just too dark to actually see anything, so I'm keeping an eye out for this, as I still haven't experienced this yet, but you know, it's nice to be aware. Going back to the combat, I see a lot of people going really hard on it because it's oddly speedy, but that's not really a flaw, it's more of a design choice. It almost feels like we're going back to the conversation about how fast Bloodborne was in comparison to traditional Souls, like some people were having the exact same discussion back then. I personally like how you have the ability to, you know, dash and also roll with the different inputs of the dodge button because it kind of fixes my really bad panic roll habit. Plus, I just like the nice mix of, you know, you are fast and agile, and you can be even more so depending on your build. I don't know, like, this is a personal preference thing. But again, there is a difference between saying, oh man, you know what, I don't really like how this game feels, I feel like the speed and the timing of it is a little bit off, I actually would prefer it to be more like this and that, instead of saying something stupid like, this is shit, how can anyone like this, oh my god. I actually really enjoyed adapting to this new pace, and the parries and staggers feel pretty familiar, but unique enough to warrant its own identity. If this is not for you, that's absolutely fine, but I think people need to understand that just because something isn't for them, it doesn't mean that the game is bad. Plus, I think the sound design also adds to the overall feel of the game. Like, hitting an enemy sounds very raw and violent, and I really like the movement and voice acting so far. But next up is probably the most controversial part of it all. This, of course, being the performance issues. Having played on both PS5 and PC, I like the experience in both. And listen, I'm a fellow Dark Crusader out here who has been lucky enough to not experience any crashes. But fellas, let's not pretend like these technical issues don't exist. I'm not sure if I'm just that lucky or if my RTX 3070 is just built different. I've heard of people with better PCs experiencing crashes, which is pretty concerning. And my PS5 experience so far hasn't been affected with performance issues either, so far I don't know if I'm lucky or, you know, if there's just a bigger problem out there that I'm not aware of. But it's simply ridiculous to sit here and act like the game is perfect. The devs have issued some patches before the game was released, and I'm hoping that this will continue in case of moving forward because I really want this game to be successful. And a quick point regarding the co-op, I think people have taken the seamless co-op expression a little too literally. Because I'm constantly coming across this critique saying, oh, they just straight up lied because it's not like the seamless co-op mod in Elden Ring. Listen, dude, if you're comparing it to a mod, I don't even know what to say to you. Every Souls game works in the exact same way where you summon people to your world, they help you in the area, maybe you kill a boss, and that's it. They go back to their world, right? Souls-like don't typically have an open world style where people can just access all the merchants and all, so I think this is a bit of a misunderstanding. Again, this is just my opinion, but is it really such a big deal that you can't access a merchant in your friend's save? Like, why not just make a mental note and go back there later in your own save, you know? Personally, I just don't see this as such a major inconvenience that would affect my overall first impressions of the game. Although there is a critique out there regarding the rate at which your co-op partner will acquire the currency in the game, which is a lot slower in comparison to the host of the world, which I kind of think that, yeah, that needs to be tweaked. But the other stuff about not accessing merchants and such, like, it's always been like this in pretty much every Souls game, and this isn't even like a FromSoft game, okay? So they can do it in their own way, and even if it's that similar, I just don't see a problem. It feels like nowadays people will find one negative aspect in a game and they just hyper-fixate on it. Like, wow, I don't like the way the sword sounds. This game sucks, and if you like it, you're an idiot. And I know that this sounds ridiculous, but this is genuinely the kind of quote-unquote critique that I'm running across. Like, for fuck's sake, dude, this habit on hating on something with no constructive criticism is just embarrassing. And the fact that so many people just jump on hate trains nowadays just to get a little bit of attention is just nothing short of pathetic in my eyes. Like, ah yes, a classic internet troll, that sure screams success. No game will ever be flawless. There will always be a bug or some rough patches with performance here and there, but you can't just let that overshadow the things that are good within a game. But to come to your defense, on the flip side, just because you think something is nice, it doesn't mean that it's perfect. So before you retaliate to trolls, think twice about whether it's really worth your time, and also think about how you're presenting yourself, because in your own way you are representing the community that likes the game. A good comparison here is when Elden Ring came out and you had a bunch of new players talking about their struggles, and you had a bunch of troglodytes saying shit like, haha, get good, Elden Ring is perfect, you just suck. Like, goddamn dude, is your life so devoid of meaning that this is what you resort to, internet trolling of like the lowest patamar possible? Because this shit is not even funny, so if you're gonna be doing some trolling, at least make like some sort of fucking funny TikTok edit so you can get some views or something, I don't know. But overall, Lords of the Fallen looks awesome, the combat feels great in my opinion, the sound design is nice, and it does have some serious performance issues. It's still far too early for me to go into bosses and weapon scaling and all of that because like I said, I'm barely 10 hours in. But my point with this video wasn't necessarily to review the game, it was more of like a little PSA on how to talk to people online. Take it as a piece of advice for the people who mindlessly hate on anything, because all you do is make yourself look dumb and slowly turn into this grumpy person who can't have a civil debate, which is really gonna be slowing you down in real life, buddy. So for now, although this all can seem like seamless trolling or you think it doesn't matter, I'm not saying it's gonna have a huge impact in your life. I'm just saying it's a bad habit. But it also serves as a wake-up call to the white knights that pretend that the flaws within this game just don't exist, and that just because you enjoy something, everyone else has to enjoy it, and if they don't agree with you, then they're wrong and their opinion is trash. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but the issues are definitely there. I just think things are overblown right now on both sides, and we all just need to take a step back and relax, man. But anyway, that's all for me today. Let me know how you feel about this in the comments, and I'll see you around. Peace.